Good morning, everybody. Welcome to a random round of the lab. Excuse me. It is one of those days where I wake up and I go, I really want to work on something. Before work, of course. So this is going to be a shorter session, not unlike what Saturday's session was, probably. May even be a little bit shorter. But just wanted to jump in, work on some stuff, have some fun. Have fun on a Monday. What a strange concept. So let's just go ahead and jump right into it. So, where we left off last session, we were looking at the metric store for on-screen stats, which we did get to, at least an in-memory version. It was this one. And there were, let me move that over here. There were a couple of things that we added. So number one, we had this concept of a metric, which a metric specifically tied to the value of a user or a viewer. We have our metric store, which put and fetch. Put was mostly used for testing, and I did eventually do some testing to see how this worked. It worked okay, we'll say, but oh, there it is. And I don't know if you can see it bouncing around on screen now, but yeah, that's our old metrics counter. And then we did an in-memory version. So the in-memory version, more or less the same as what it was in the previous in-memory ledger. The store is just a map of string metric. And yeah, pretty simple usage. So let's see here. Now, obviously, this is not going to work for what would be considered production use because we don't want the last sub and the last sub, last bits, last follower, etc., to not persist across streams. So we will want to add a more persistent version. So that'll be a thing. And then I was also starting to look at how I was going to punt these things around, and I decided to make the metric store effectively. I wanted it to be a shared dependency between the server. So this is a concept that I use that I took from a gent called Matt Ryer, and Ryer introduced this idea of a central server struct that has shared dependencies. Although technically the router is not shared, the viewer metric store is absolutely shared. We could, if we really wanted to, we could make this a bit more generic, and we could pass the viewer metric store between different places. We kind of talked about this idea of a generic metric store, or a generic store, which would be a key value store that both the ledger and the metric store could use. That feels like an optimization, and it felt like an early optimization, so I decided not to do that. And let's see here. What else did we do? And then, of course, we did change over the HTTP handler from, instead of doing what it's doing right now, which is showing a random Unix time, it would actually grab last sub and the last sub amount, and it would drop that into the handler. So I am going to hide that for the time being, though. And we're just going to put that like up there. The intention is for that that label to be on either the header or the footer bar, which I still need to redo because they look kind of shite. Not gonna lie. But so for all intents and purposes, I don't really want to call that done. Actually, I think I kind of do. I call that part done. But very, very, very soon, we're going to need a persistent metrics store. Stro? Apparently, my brain does not want to type metrics store. Store. Monday, what can I say? So that will need to be way up here. Something like that. However, that's not what we're going to work on today. Because I've been going back and forth on the point redemption bits, as well as how do I recognize point redemptions, how do I recognize followers, the things that don't actually work inside of IRC at this time. Yeah, I'm gonna go ahead and create a pull request. Those things don't exist inside of IRC, so originally we had gone down the path of PubSub, and PubSub being the provider of that information. If you weren't here, if you don't remember, that was a pain in the ass. Just a royal pain in the ass. And just to call it out, I am just making a quick PR for this. I'm going to go ahead and squash and merge so that we can get that draft down. Because I do like the way that it came out. Git pull origin current branch. It's doing it again. All right. Need to figure out why that. I have a ZSH alias for git pull origin current branch, but for whatever reason, that's just not working. Oh well. So we'll reboot that to make sure that is. Yep. Okay. You can't technically see it, but at the top right of the screen, it's backwards for me. At the top right of the screen, there's a little red box for where that label for me exists. But let's see here, 350 by 50, I think is what I wanted that to be. Yeah, something like that. All right. So we are not going to have that show. Let's come back to here. So, what I was looking for was, where are you? Event Sub. So I wanted to take a quick dive into Event Sub. I basically wanted to do a proof of concept on Event Sub because, and I've said this a number of times when we were looking at PubSub versus Event Sub versus insert the other options for getting data out of Twitch here. This statement keeps catching me. So long term, Twitch wants to use Event Sub. I don't know how long term means, and I don't think any developer actually knows what long term means, realistically speaking. But the intent is more or less for a single publish subscribe style product, it seems. Now, the thing that I remember from before is that I had a couple of questions about Event Sub. So let me actually do a POC card. Event Sub. And I don't want to do that. I want to do that. Put a label on it. POC. Okay. So I had some questions for this. Webhook or WebSocket. And if WebSocket, which would be preferable since we already have WebSockets, how? Let's see here. So we want to look at point redemptions. We wanted follows. And I think that was it. More if available. And of course I closed it. Did we want to do anything else for Event Sub? I don't think so. I think the big thing was just webhook or WebSocket, which I don't recall seeing details about. And then seeing if we can get point redemptions back. So, with that in mind, Um, okay, so Event Sub basically working on the idea of subscriptions. So this is you're telling Twitch that you're interested in a particular type of data, and then Twitch will send that data to you through this Event Sub connection, depending on how you've done it. And there's a couple of really interesting things to this, which would be things like, so a stream has gone online. So where previously we were thinking about like Discord integration, Slack integration, yada yada, a stream going online would be an option for you to say, hey, this is the message that I want you to send to Discord. And then once you go online, it'll automatically send it for you. Assuming the bot is running, of course. A broadcaster has a new follower, so auto follow thanks. New subscriber, so we technically have that in IRC right now, but I wouldn't be against moving that over. Just saying. User has cheered, so bits redemption, bits points, and bits cheering, and a user redeemed channel points. So, in a nutshell, that is pretty much everything that we wanted to get out of a subscription, and one more, which would be lovely. The problem, though, is that I don't recall seeing a WebSocket option. Oh, there's more. Okay. So that's okay. Follow, subscribe, and cheer is interesting. Channel raid is not quite I don't think is quite what I was looking for. Because this, I think, is the broadcaster raiding somebody else. Whereas I would be looking for broadcaster raided. So like somebody raids me, I can give them a shout out. Custom channel points, which is interesting. Hype train, so there's some interesting things there. Stream online, stream offline. Yeah, okay. Now the question is, question is, what are we doing? How do we do it? Transport. Oh, okay. So coming back for just a second before I get too far in. So there's this concept of, since now Event Sub is basically saying, hey, client, tell me what data you want. What you're doing is you are posting a subscription to the Twitch API. And so when you post to the Twitch API, you say, I'm interested in this data. Twitch creates a subscription for you. And then whenever an event of that type, that topic comes back down to you, or gets fired, it comes down to you as a message. So it's a little more selective than what, say, IRC currently is. IRC is just a stream of information, and then you are showing or hiding bits of information depending on what you have enabled. So in our case, when we run IRC, we do a capability request for commands and tags. We're kind of sort of telling Twitch, hey, I'm interested in the commands and the tags, but we're also just kind of saying, give us everything. So we get user notices for user joins. We get user notices for moderation. We get all kinds of data that we technically don't need. So there's a little something there. But so we have to tell Twitch what kind of subscriptions we want. That's the subscription list that we were looking at. Authorization, you must include an app access token. This is nothing new. Okay. Secrets. When creating a subscription, you must specify a secret for purposes of verification. Secret is a string between 10 and 100 characters that your application will define and send to Twitch in the subscription creation process. Okay. So they do something like this. The typical leet speak secret. Okay. So so here's that post that I was talking about. So we post to the Helix Event Sub API for subscriptions. We send in our client ID and our client secret. And then this is the data that we post. So if I want followers, channel.follow version 1. This is again where where the broadcaster user ID comes into play. If you remember from, or if you weren't here, from the PubSub days, PubSub required a broadcaster ID, which is effectively, if you think twitch.tv/Medgelabs, Medgelabs is the broadcaster name, but then there's a number that's associated to you as well. As far as I'm aware, that broadcaster ID is not sensitive because you can literally just inspect element, go into the console, and you'll see that broadcaster ID everywhere. So it's not exactly secret, all things considered. But it was kind of a pain in the ass to get, so I wanted to look into automating that, depending on how far we get with Event Sub. And then transport. Okay, so this is an example of a webhook, but where's an example of a WebSocket? So webhook in this case would be Twitch is going to attempt to make HTTP requests to us. That's not ideal for running the bot locally. What I'm really hoping, and this will kind of determine whether or not Event Sub is truly viable or not. One of the things that I wanted to have for the bot is I wanted the bot to be self-contained and runnable anywhere. You didn't necessarily have to have DNS. So in this case, in order for a webhook to work, I would have to have a publicly accessible URL for the bot to use. Now, technically, yes, you can run something like ngrok, which would be ngrok, which is kind of like a shuttle service. It's a public URL for your local stuff. You run ngrok locally. Yeah, there you go. Building webhook integrations. You basically run your application locally. You run ngrok. Ngrok proxies to a local application, and then you can give that. You can give this this URL. You can give to Twitch, but that's not exactly what I would call a standard user feature. I don't know very many non-developers that know what ngrok is, let alone what it's for. With one exception to a business PM that brought it up to me at one point, which shocked the hell out of me, but it also reinforced this idea that just because you're not a developer doesn't mean you don't know about developer tools. And I don't think I ever got a question, an answer of why they knew what ngrok was. But hey. Let's see here. There are things happening off to the side. Make sure those are good. Cool. Got a little bit of time. So I post this. Twitch responds with a thing. Status webhook callback verification pending, which I guess is just them saying, does this callback actually work? That's exactly what they're doing, because of course. And then Twitch sends a callback verification request to your server using the callback URL provided. So it sends a bunch of stuff. Okay. If you've never seen this this format, by the way, make that just a little bit bigger. This is very, very popular API representation. You've got the HTTP method and the URL in question, the REST URL preferably in question. You've got 4 dashes, and those 4 dashes split out the headers of the HTTP request, and then you have your body, whether it be JSON or XML or etc. I see this being used more and more and more, and it makes me happy that it's finally being standardized. Good morning, Really Frank. Thank you so much for stopping by. Welcome to the lab. How you doing? Doing a bit of a light, quick round POC, looking into Twitch's event sub. Let's see here. So we verify the request, and then we return the value of challenge to the verification, to complete the verification process. Now, what does this mean? What is this part? Where? I'm gonna assume it goes back to the event sub. Oh, I didn't even realize they mentioned ngrok. Ha! Nice. I'm gonna assume that there's an API for event sub, but where? Wow, there's a lot of stuff in there. Supported values is webhook. Okay. So that I think answers my question from before of, they say WebSockets are supported, but it doesn't look like WebSockets are supported right now, which is a shame, because that puts a bit of a damper on things, just a little bit. And to talk through that just a little bit, so the reason that I wanted WebSockets was because my assumption, key breaking point here, my assumption was that if it was a WebSocket, that I could initiate the WebSocket connection with event sub. So at that point, there would still be this exchange of messages. So it would be create a subscription. So I would connect to event sub via WebSocket, and then I would publish, say, this message to it. All well and good. I publish that message. I assume I'm going to get a WebSocket message back from Twitch. I have to parse it. I have to process it, yada, yada. I send it back. I get a message back, and then I've completed the same process. The difference there would be that I initiate the WebSocket connection. So it's not as necessary. It's not as necessary for something like ngrok to exist, and therefore the bot doesn't have to be publicly facing. In theory, in practice, if Twitch says no, we need a callback URL or something that we can hit this to prove that this is not just, some random bot that's not publicly accessible. Although technically speaking, when you have ngrok, you don't exactly have that same guarantee, but. Maybe Twitch requires that something like that is still accessible. I don't really know. I would prefer webhook, because if it's WebSocket. If it's WebSocket, then yeah. Isn't Twitch pub sub what I want? Not well. Technically yes, but technically no. So let's see here. Let me come back up to here. So we actually did go down this path. And the thing that bothered me about PubSub, so PubSub does technically do the WebSocket publish. So it does basically everything that I'm describing. The thing that bothers me about PubSub is that their messages are shite. Like, the way that they represent these types of messages is god awful. And in some cases, I'm trying to remember which one it was. So like there's this where you have JSON stringified data inside of a JSON message, which is great. It's not great. The bits message, I think, was actually different when we actually hooked up to the PubSub API. Like some of this, the documentation and then what actually comes down on PubSub was completely different. Then you end up with stuff like this where it's like, oh, this is all stuff that's readily available. It's not readily available. Yeah. Welcome to the wonderful world of the web. Yep. So yeah, we did go down this path. We actually had point redemptions working off of PubSub at some point. But I think we drowned in the complexity of the ping pong. There was an interesting challenge to trying to implement ping pong where instead of Twitch sending the ping and us responding with pong, we were the ones that were sending the ping, and we were supposed to check for Twitch sending back a pong, and never got to that point. So the other reason that I kind of dropped PubSub was because I was reading EventSub, and EventSub, they basically were saying, hey, PubSub is shit. We know that it's shit. We're moving to this new thing, and we're dedicating dedicated resources. We're dedicating dedicated resources. So that's a bit of a stutter. Allow. JSON to go. I feel like I've used this tool before. Hang on. Yeah, I have used this tool before. Oh, I love it. It has a dark mode. Ooh, it looks terrible, but I love it. Oh, I love this tool. For anybody that has no idea what's going on, JSON, web representation, obviously. So let's take an example. Why not? Oh, this makes me happy. So you plop that into there. Oh, wait, there's a problem. Line 42. This is the only thing that I was not particularly keen on. They don't show line numbers. Let's see here. 42 would be like way down here, I'm guessing. So, yeah, there we go. Oh, man. And then it auto-generates this monstrosity of a ghost struct. And you can do you want to have all the different versions, or do you just want it to be, you don't really care about them being different objects, you just want it to be one giant inline struct? Really, Frank, this bloody tool, if this didn't exist, I would be far more sad as a Go developer. Or I probably would have tried to write it myself, but ooh, I love it. I love it. But yeah, so that's kind of where I landed with PubSub. Now, unfortunately, it appears that I feel like I've done this a couple of times now. I keep coming back to EventSub to be like, okay, well, what does it look like with WebSockets? And then I kind of come back and look, and it's like, oh yeah, WebSockets isn't supported yet. Why? The one thing that I am very worried about, though, is that I hope that it is that I can initiate the WebSocket. I hope that it's not make a call to a Twitch callback and say, hey, Twitch, I would like to create a WebSocket connection to you, and I want you to use that as the event sub. And then Twitch makes the WebSocket connection. I would much rather have a WebSocket client in the Go than I would a WebSocket server, for the selfish reason of I've already implemented a WebSocket client. But, but all of this is webhook oriented. And then this tells me that the only supported value for transport is webhook. Makes me sad. Makes me so sad. Because that is technically the thing that I need. That is the thing that is blocking me from doing autofollow and autofollow thanks and point redemption. Like, and I would love to have point redemption, not gonna lie. Bits event, badge event, channel subscription event. Whisper event. That was the other thing too, is that PubSub didn't supply follows. Makes me very bloody sad. Which PubSub? JavaScript example. Let's see. Nonce. Heartbeat. So there's the heartbeat that we're supposed to be doing. Whoops. Connect heartbeat interval is 60,000 milliseconds. Interesting. Huh. Very interesting. Exactly, really, Frank. And in the event sub docs, they were even when talking about it, they were like, "Oh, hey, for local development, you can just use ngrok." It's like, yes, technically, but I don't expect to be able to distribute this to somebody and have them set up an ngrok tunnel. Nor do I really anticipate using my own ngrok tunnel for a bunch of people, because that will get very expensive very fast. So, yes, I am technically shoving the infrastructure cost back onto Twitch. Yeah. I have no witty retort to that. Let's see here. So I was just gonna look at this piece. This is a JavaScript example of how they did PubSub, but nothing special here, I don't think. On open, got a handle set. Oh, here it is. Set interval. Yeah, just a set interval. Okay. And interestingly, they're not actually checking for Pong. That's very interesting. That is very interesting. Okay. And then down here, they have a bunch of stuff. Uh-oh. Be it that time? It be that time. Bummer. Alrighty. Well, this will now be the I can't even think how many times it's been now that I've come back to Event Sub now. And been like, "Hey, Event Sub, are you ready for WebSockets?" No? Oh. Let's see here. I just want to see if there's anything. There's actually a lot of stuff here that's new. List your subscriptions. It's all well and good. Delete subscription, verify a signature. Whenever you see a request, a signature will be included. To verify that a request is authentic, you must verify its signature. See, including all of this is making me think that it's going to be a lot more like you host the server, Twitch will push you data, and then it's on. They're basically moving that responsibility down to the client, which would be all well and good. But like, can you at least publish an SDK? Do you have to make me do the work? Yes, that's how developers do. I think it's fair to say that if a developer has an opportunity to shove work down to somebody else, we'll do it. We'll do it. Let's see here. Handling duplicates. Okay. Twitch subscriptions are designed as an at least one system. Makes sense. This means that if your Twitch is ever unsure, it'll retry. Under some circumstances, may mean you received the same message twice. Yeah. I'm actually having this discussion right now with work because we're looking into event driven, and at least one systems are great, but you have to have duplication handling. Because if you don't, you're going to end up with some weird shit. You need to deduplicate messages, keep track of the values Twitch event sub message ID you've seen. If you receive a message that contains an ID you've already seen, immediately return a 200 status code. Okay. Let's see here. Ping pong is built into the WebSocket protocol, so I don't think it should be necessary to do it at the user level. You're not wrong. What they end up doing, here it is, connection management. So you publish a listen on a topic, and then after that, you must send a ping message every 5 minutes. If a client does not receive a pong message within 10 seconds of issuing a ping, it should reconnect. So this was the logic that we kind of ran into of, okay, well, we have to send this ping JSON. We expect to see a pong JSON. Although technically speaking, you could take the blissful ignorance approach to it, which is you send your ping, and if for some reason the WebSocket gets disconnected, well, just reconnect. And then there's also this type reconnect, which we may receive a reconnect message at any time. This indicates that the server is about to restart and will disconnect the client within 30 seconds. During this time, we recommend that the clients reconnect to the server. Otherwise, the client will be forcibly disconnected. So there's almost this element of like, if your WebSocket connection is durable and you have reconnect semantics in play, then it seems like it doesn't necessarily matter. Yeah. So technically, I guess we probably made things a little more complicated on ourselves in the first go around, so we maybe could take a second stab at it. Maybe. I'm starting to decide whether or not I want to convince myself to go back into PubSub or not. Let's see. So unfortunately, it seems like the TLDR for event sub is that event sub is still not ready for WebSocket, which makes me sad, but you know, there are worse things. Hey. Bloody JTV. Thank you so much for the host, Horror. How are you doing, mate? In for some coding destruction. I appreciate it, mate. How you doing? Oh yeah, that was the channel point event message. Yes. There is a part of me that is very, very, very tempted. Very, very, very tempted to attempt to do point redemption again. Yeah, okay. I'll give it a shot. So get checkout dash B. What do I want to call this? PubSub Redux. PubSub redo. Tired AF, but could be worse. Heard that. I'm good. Had a random sprout of inspiration this morning to at least do a POC on event sub, and unfortunately we have determined that we still want just WebSocket. So I'm going to change this to WebSocket available yet? Short answer appears to be no. I'm actually going to keep a log of this. 2/8/2021. No WebSocket. Sad. I just want to keep a running tally of how many times I've checked PubSub, whether or not PubSub was, actually available for WebSocket or not. Alrighty, let's see here. So we've got a WebSocket. We've got... How did I want to do that? So let's make dear... Maybe dear PubSub, since we're doing this thing of IRC being its own package, we can do the same thing for PubSub. Pubsub.go, or we'll, yeah, pubsub.go. It's not great, but and then also pubsub channelpoint.go. Oop. That looks so weird. Package pubsub. So this is not auto-generated. This is a channel point redemption. Like 30 centimeters or more of snow overnight, so I had to get up early to clear the sidewalk. Damn. What is the snow everybody keeps talking about? It's a channel point message from PubSub. Everybody keeps talking about this snow. I'm not familiar with the snow that people keep talking about. And 2 hours of sleep is totally sufficient. All right, let's see here. What do we not need? Don't need the timestamp, because that's a thing. Yeah, we might keep that. We definitely don't need channel ID because I already have my channel ID. Well, I'll keep that. I have a thought there, but I'll keep it. Okay, see here. Deemed at reward ID, channel ID. Can you redeem channel points in somebody else's channel? I don't think so. Prompt cost is user input required is sub only. We could care about the image. We could care about the image. We'll see. Is user input required is sub only. I don't think I need that because I'm going to rely on Twitch to be the moderator of whether or not a channel point was actually, you know, reliable or not. I don't know. We don't care about default image. We don't care about background color. Is enabled, is paused, and is in stock. I'm not entirely sure why those would not be the case, so that'll be interesting. Let's see here. Let's see here. White and fluffy and cold, and everybody complains about it. I can't recall the last time that we had snow down here. We had kind of like a frost cover. So like, how do I describe this? Like we had snow coverings on roofs, but we didn't actually have it stick on the ground, which was sad. Had to dig up her car from the snow. Oh shit. Let's see here. All right. Now my ear's doing that thing again. Okay. Should redemption skip request you? Minus 20C. Holy shit. What was it? Yesterday it was 11C. I think the lowest that it got to is like 8C. Maybe? Yeah, somewhere around the 8 to 11C yesterday. And this was after the day before it had gotten down to 2C. And I'm just kind of sitting here like, What is this weather? What is this state? Blech. Okay, so there's a there's a part of me that's trying to think if there's something that I want to do with this data, and I think the answer is no. Status I don't necessarily care about, so we can get rid of that. User input could be useful, so that'll probably be a thing. But then what's the difference between user input and prompt? Oh, wait. Prompt is what is actually displayed to them, but their user input is something else. Okay. Also had Sahara winds with Sahara sands of parts of Germany while this co-friends. What? Huh? Huh? How does that what? Or you broke my brain. You actually broke my brain. Oh, that's a very interesting image to have in my head though. Yeah, that's a very interesting image. Okay. Channel ID, those should be the same. Galeesh walk on stream. Clean side's finest. I feel like this prompt is not really as necessary. The user input, I think, is more necessary. Although, well, no, because title would be, I guess there's technically nothing wrong with it. Let's see here. Okay. Just double checking to make sure that work is good and I actually have time. All right. I think that should be, I don't need the max per stream. I don't need that. The images I'm a little iffy about because I don't think that I actually need that data. In fact, I'm fairly confident that I don't need that data. There was a thought in my head for, well, could I use it, say, if I had the channel point image was, I don't know, some kind of logo, and with that logo, would I want to splash that logo on the screen or something like that? But I did, nah. Let's see here. ID, title, prompt. So title is probably going to be the way that channel point redemptions are identified. Probably. I'll have to see. There's a whole like admin input thing here that I was thinking. I'm still thinking of building, where you could go through this kind of like step through process of, okay, the bot is connected, you know, which channel point redemptions do you want to recognize? You click on one and it grabs that channel point and says, okay, I got this channel point redemption. What do you want to have happen? And then it can do the ID mapping. But like in thinking of config.yaml, in order for config.yaml to be a thing, we would probably have to literally do something like channel points, and it'd probably be an array, and then it would be title, waste your points, and then type response message format or something like that. Because the other thing that I was thinking of was with channel points, and this is more just getting into like what I wanted to do for the channel point redemption. Could do things like turn off the lights. Right? This is type is API, and then here it would be endpoint is localhost 999999998. Totally legal. Lights off. You know, it would be something that we could extend beyond just saying, like, just doing things and just putting things into the chat. But for the time being, like, this is kind of this is what we're targeting, being able to have a channel point redemption and have that be sent into the chat. Another thing too that I'm not technically doing right now, but I'll get to that soon. Do I still have? Yes, I still have the channel ID. Oh, so there's a thing. Yeah. False mappings, maybe. Yeah, we'll just call it mappings. Why not? Let's see here. Let me double check this over here. Okay. All right. So, what else can we do here? So there was a thing that I wanted to do with this. I'm trying to remember what it was. Sends a channel point message from PubSub. Say, cut down to the data we need. Or cut down to the data the bot needs, technically. So then we would have PubSub. Oh. Don't know what happened there. And I think for this, I could probably borrow a pretty decent chunk of IRC. Yeah. I think I could probably borrow a chunk from IRC. I don't think I need all that. Let's just go for this. Message can be received. This is used for the byte buffer, so this will be PubSub. Oh, thank you so much for stopping by, Spooky. Welcome to the lab. Thank you for stopping by the lab. Hope you have a good evening. Sleep well. Always good to see you, Spooky. Is the spooky command still working? Yay! Still working. Haha. Currently on hiatus, but a fantastic person, a fantastic streamer nonetheless. Let's see here. So PubSub wraps the WebSocket connection to Twitch PubSub. We still need the sync.mutex. The connection. You too, Spooky. Have a great evening. There won't be any inbound events. This will be purely an outbound event. To Twitch PubSub and acts as a producer of channel point messages. We do not send messages to PubSub. I may change that in the future, but I do recall, at least for this, I didn't want PubSub to be read writable. I only wanted it to be readable. And then we just do that, I think. New client creates a non-connected client. And I wanted to make that distinction very explicitly. So this is PubSub. This we want client.read. This will be the ping pong loop. Ping ping? No, ping pong loop. Now, what is this? Oh, right. Expected declaration found. Go. Okay. So we don't currently have a read method. We'll get to that in just a second. And then same thing for this. Ping pong. Well, technically it'll be ping, it won't be pong. We want this to be log, and this is Medgebot logger. There we go. PubSub has no field or method read. And cool. Okay, so now we need to go back to IRC, come down to the read method. Eat. Come back to here, paste, reads from the PubSub stream. Oops. I'll need that part. Changing this from client to PubSub. Client.con. Oh yeah, read PubSub. Keeping the pattern that we had in IRC client. That should be good. Don't need that anymore since we're now doing the new logger. What have you used for WebSocket client? Yep, Gorilla WebSocket. So what we do, I have an abstraction for making Gorilla WebSocket an IO read write closer. It's this guy. And then, so basically I wrap Gorilla WebSocket in a IO read write closer that allows the clients to be more agnostic to Gorilla. And it also allows me some testing niceties, which is very nice. I wish that Gorilla would just implement the bloody read write closer interface, but whatever. I'm not salty. I don't know what you're talking about. And starts the read loops. Now we are actually not going to have Oh, I remember now. Okay. I remember now why I was doing this. I was doing this because so read is going to have to account for we need to determine if ping pong or other. So we're going to have to work on that. Now, what is this complaining about? Missing return. Return nil. Nuke. Return a nuke. No. There we go. Yes. So, and I'm going to have to double check this just to make sure, because this is where I think I got into a bit of issue with PubSub, but we will hopefully find out. It's 8:30, so I've got another 30 minutes. Let's see how far we can make it. Okay, so what did authentication look like? I feel like I did this. Remove Redis, remove PubSub. This is why I did this. Load diff. Channel ID, auth token, string. Oh, right. Right. We didn't do that part. We didn't actually do that part. That's why it wasn't working. Okay. So this part we can do, API limits or whatever. Authentication. All topics require an OAuth token, but only some topics have a specific required scope. Okay. So how do we send the auth token? There it is. This thing. Right. Okay. So I'm gonna call this topic request. Oh, you can subscribe to multiple topics. Forgot about that. That's handy. I don't think I'll need to, but I will. Okay, so we do need on this. So we need the channel ID and we need the auth token. What is this complaining about? Channel ID should be channel ID. Whoops. I screw that up every time. Yes. And then this will be channel ID and auth token is a string. Channel ID is channel ID. Auth token is auth token. Very good, very good. Now this host I think I had to have those separate. Yep. Scheme, host, path. And then we were also storing that for reconnect purposes. Okay. That's not too terrible. Let me put this down here. So this would be server host is a string and server scheme is a string. For reconnect, we store server scheme and server host. Well, actually, we'll just say for reconnect purposes, we'll do it like that. You seek JSON parser when I need to quickly determine what message is received. Ooh. And another one. Make that a little bit bigger. And by a little bit bigger, I mean a lot bigger. Alternative JSON parser for Go. Okay. Oh, that's interesting. That's kind of cool. I love their sales pitch, by the way. Interesting. Just gonna make a quick bookmark for that. Boop. I might use that because that might be particularly interesting. I think we learned from the last time. I think we learned this. I'll have to double check. Well, yeah, I'll have to double check because I'm kind of curious. So we do need a client.send ping. And then we started to try and figure out the channel point topics and so forth, but we didn't do a very good job of it, so yeah. And then we tried to make that a closer. Oh yeah. I remember this now. There's some redundancy here, but the general idea I think still holds. So there is a client.write that's required, but it's an external. Yeah, it's an external write. I think data would look. Now, how did I do this? Data is just a struct. Yeah. So we would need topics is a slice of string of, and then in this case, oh, right. Yeah. Change to this. This will be topics. Auth token is client.auth token. I feel like there was a reason to not do that, but yeah. Client.con. Oh no, we don't do the dialing. That's right. That's right. We don't do the dialing anymore. So then that begs the question of, do we really need the start method? I feel like, yeah, because that'll at least get us into the same loop with IRC. So what I was thinking there was, because we're not actually doing any of the server dialing, so we're not actually creating the WebSocket connection. Reason being is that we send the WebSocket connection in as part of our client. Technically means that we don't really need. In theory, we wouldn't have needed the start method, but in order to do all of this, we would need the clients. We would need access to the client and the client's abstraction for these things. And yeah, I didn't want to dig too far out of what of the pattern that we already had. So that's read. Let's throw write. Log dot error. Is that what I called it? Yes. Oh, right. Right. That's ugly. Oh, that's really ugly. Ooh. I feel like we should probably make that a method, because that is very ugly. Yeek. Okay. Let's see here. Funk. Listen. Topics is a slice of string. Can return an error. Return that. Something like that. Does that actually bias anything? Probably not. So if we did that, listen fires off a request to listen to the given topics. Now I'm actually going to do a thing. So topic string equals fmt.sprintf, because we do have to do this. It's technically %s dot %s topic and then client dot channel ID, if I remember correctly. So in the case of a where are you? Up here. Channel points. So it'd be channel points channel v1 dot channel ID. So we would need this string. So this would become error equals client.listen. Error is not equal to nil. Then we can do this part. So this would be subscribe to channel point redemption messages. That'll do a thing. 46. Just keeping an eye on the time. In this case, I want to say topic string. So this is an attempt. Do that. Pub sub.connection is nil. Did you forget to call? So that's no longer a thing. It's just should be errors.errorf. And same thing down here. Now we don't have the right JSON message anymore. It's now just right. Ooh, but this is a minor problem. Ooh, this is a minor problem. Because what we need to do is JSON equals to JSON dot new encoder dot encode message, which in our case, I think buff is usually a strings dot builder. Is that what it was? I think that's what I do. And then here would be buff dot string. Or not buff, yeah, no, that's not right. That's not right. And really, Frank, you are absolutely right. Because this is a bytes buffer. Be buff dot bytes. Do believe. Now, what is this complaining about? Write is technically an int and an error, so it's underscore error. Do that for now. In fact, we're just going to I don't know why we were assigning that to anything now that I actually stand back and look at it. So, okay. Now, the thing that I'm curious about and the thing that kind of gave me pause was that previously we had direct access to Gorilla WebSocket's write JSON method. So in the case of IRC, we're just sending text messages. I'm not sure if write JSON really matters, though, because it felt like write JSON was just an abstraction over what we just did, which was create a JSON encoder, encode the message to JSON, and then write those bytes out to the connection as is. But I couldn't remember if I had to set a header or not for JSON, so that's why I kind of paused and went, So that should be okay. So then up here, we can more or less just pass that on through because we can't really handle the pub sub connection errors here. We handle those in main, so we'll kind of let that do its thing. Okay. So now we need to do a go client dot ping, which I think will be probably the last thing that we get to do today. Pub sub ping. Okay. So I can never remember it. It's like time dot after, I think it was. Or time dot ticker. Yeah. I think this is what we need, more or less. Trying to think if there's any reason to think for the time being it'll be fine. Trying to curb your Breath of the Wild addiction. Why would you ever want to curb that addiction? Also, welcome to the Lab Guitar. How are you doing, mate? Give Guitar a shout out. Fantastic streamer, very good friend. I feel very bad because I haven't actually been in your stream in God knows how long now. Makes me sad. Ultimate Marvel v Capcom. But Guitar, why are you trying to curb your why are you trying to curb it? Why would you do that? Why, Guitar? I'm not a bad influence. I don't know what you're talking about. Because you're supposed to play that stream. Detail. Don't you just do the whole like flip flopping the save? Well, I guess it depends on whether or not you Actually, that's a good question. Time.minute. And actually, we're gonna do this every 4 minutes. God, there was a thing of I remember saying this a while ago. Like somebody kept claiming that they were having a first impression. Yeah, it's like they had a first impression of a game, but so at some point, like either I can't remember if it was on stream or on video or one or the other, like the save file came up or the save screen came up, and you could just see like all these different save files of the game, and it's like, look, if you're playing the game on your free time, or if you're giving the game another look on your free time, whatever. Like just say that you're familiar with it. I don't know why that's such a stigma. Why is there such a stigma around that? Also, XCOM. If there's any and ever a game where I would like save scumming, in my opinion, should just be a universal accepted thing, it should be an XCOM. I'm trying to think. It was XCOM 2, I think I was playing, and oh my god, I save scummed so many times on that game. So many times. So here's the thing that I'm curious about. Right. Timers on missions. Bullshit. Okay. New ticker returns a new ticker containing a channel that will send the time with a period specified by the duration argument and adjust the interval, blah, blah, blah. Okay. Stop the ticker to release associated resources. Now the question, though, is that blocking? Because I feel like this is not going to happen. Or not that it's not going to happen. I feel like the ping function is basically going to stop, which I don't want. Because for each of these, what I effectively want to do is I want to do a client.write. And then for this, I just need to send a type ping. Don't hate me, really, Frank. I am being this lazy. I am indeed being this lazy. Oh, wait, I can't be this lazy. Ha! Well, now I can. Type is ping. Loopholes. I feel like this should actually just do. Oh no, I don't have to do the JSON piece of it, so I could just do what I was going to do. But I'm not gonna make this any uglier than it already is. So ping sends a ping message every 4 minutes. And what I should really be doing can I do this? Because this is not a constant. Yeah. Not time.duration, time.minute. I can do this. Hey. Okay. And this is not a duration, this is an interval. Ping interval. Ping interval for the ping pong loop. Let me come down here. So this ticker is ping interval. When we do this, so every 4 minutes, this is going to get this is going to get a notification. We get the ping, we write the ping, we praise the sun, we hope that everything's happy. So we are going to put that right here, since that's more of a business logic method. Then there's read. Then there's bloody read. Pub sub ping. Because that's the best that we're going to be able to do. I don't really want to blow the client away necessarily. There's a whole like thing in my head that I've been thinking about of what would effectively be like a shutdown hook. So a function that I can pass into into these clients such that if for some reason they failed out, so they ejected for whatever reason, then main could basically pass in a shutdown hook, which is just a function that does something, and then I could figure out what I wanted to do from there, but I haven't really quite gotten that far yet. Okay, so where we're at right now, and I kind of sort of want to run this. I don't know if I'm going to get the chance to. Let's see. So we have our pub sub client. We have our topic request, which I feel like doesn't actually need to be... Yeah, topic request only belongs within the context of this listen, so... We could even go even dumber, but I'm not gonna. So we have listen, which fires off a listen request to the to Twitch IRC. In theory, that comes back successfully. In theory, if it doesn't, then we cry. And we should really do this. We should really just do this afterwards, I think. So we establish the read loop. Then we start the listen. Then we start the ping. No. We do ping. We do ping after. We can do ping as the last step. Lastly, ensure we heartbeat with Twitch pub sub. There we go. Okay. So, in theory, this gets us at least to the point where we are spitting messages out. I think we can run this if we can get main up and running. So where's IRC? Okay, so this is IRC config. So we need to get pub sub configured. So pub sub WS is a ws.new WebSocket. PubSub socket.connect. WSS. I don't remember. I think I'm like rushing now because I'm looking at the time going, oh shit, I gotta get to work, but I want this to work. Do like that, and technically connect returns an error. You all are gonna get to see the return of panic if. Func panic if. You shouldn't do this. I've been told many times. If error does not equal to nil, log dot fatal error. I've been told you shouldn't do this. Yeah, I really shouldn't do that. And the reason more or less is that panic if error is basically not decorating the error. So in theory, what you should be doing is if error does not equal to nil, log.fatal IRC WS connect error, and then you're good. And in the process of doing that, I talked myself out of it. I was trying to be lazy in exchange for speed, and you shouldn't do that. Okay. So now what I need to do is pubsub equals pubsub.new client ws config dot channel ID big. Oh, we don't have an auth token. Where do I get the auth token from? Comes from the store. Okay. True. Very true. Auth token equals. Is it still the Twitch token? I don't recall. I don't think it is. We'll try it. Although I don't think that that's actually going to work. Okay, let's go to config.go. And then down here, so I want channel ID returns the numeric channel ID for the current broadcaster. See config channel ID. Let's see here. C.config.get string C.key channel ID That should work, I think. What I should also do... Well, no, because this doesn't belong in config. This belongs in the store. Okay. So we need a pubsub.close, and then we do pubsub.start. Whoops. Yes, it is. What's it complaining about? Channel ID not declared by package config lies. Ooh. I thought I could do that even though I'm in a... Thank you so much for the lurk, Feel. We're going to finish here in just a moment because I am kind of late to starting work. I just wanted to see this work. Am I crazy, or is there a function there called channel ID? All right, restart COC. What are you doing? Oh, am I supposed to be doing conf dot? Yeah, I'm supposed to be doing conf dot. It's because I was being stupid. Oop. How about that? There we go. So, chatbot register client. Oh yeah, that is a thing that we will need to do. So PubSub is a client, which clients are things that will send data to the bot. To be handy. But we won't do that just yet. I kind of just want to see if we get data. This is probably going to fail out somehow, if I had to guess. PubSub, type response, error, none, nonce is a thing. Oh, does that mean that we got a thing? Hang on. Hydrate, redeem. Oh shit! We did it! Kind of. I mean, technically we're in a terrible spot, but yeah, this is what I meant. Fucking okay. Topic is channel points. Message is this nasty JSON stringified BS. I hate it. I hate it with a fiery passion. But it at least tells me that this is still a giant piece of shit. But we can still get to it. Hell yeah. Now, the other thing that I need to check is that in 4 minutes, that we do actually get the... yeah, that's fun. That's on the read. There's a part of me that says that I should write as well. However, I cannot write. I cannot write certain types. Like I can't write the listen topic, for example. So, okay. Well, that's pretty good. I'm pleased with that. It is 9:15. Question is, I kind of want to look at this Okay, so you remember the old JSON.go? Unterminated string. What is that? Do you see that? What is that? What is that formatting? Hang on. Oh, jeez. Oh. Oh, okay. Interesting. Things happening. You can use JSON.raw message to delay parsing the message. I am curious. Oh. Did I send... Okay, so I got a pong. I must have sent a ping at some point. Log.info pubsub ping. Shit. I didn't do that part. Whoops. That didn't feel like 4 minutes to you guys, did it? Didn't feel like 4 minutes to me. Okay, so there's just going to be like a random response. So what we can do, time flies, right? What we can do is we can say log.info pubsub listen to topic string. And this is okay because this is just the channel ID, if you will. That's not considered to be secret. And there we go. So now we have at least an indication as to what this random response thing is that's coming back from PubSub. So we have our listen. We have our response to the listen. So PubSub is connected, and at a bare minimum, we're at least getting a pong. So in theory, I should be sending out a ping. In theory. In practice, who the hell knows? So I'm gonna do this like that, and I'm kind of curious. So, what was the what was it called? JSON.raw message. JSON.raw message in a struct basically skips the skips decoding the value and just stores the bytes. Ah, okay. So that's a standard JSON on Marshall. This is a JSON raw. Oh, okay. It's a type. Interesting. So then, to your point, well, I guess this would be the question. Is there any well, it could potentially be faster, I guess. Because we would still have to do a double unmarshal, a double decode. Or encode, decode. We have to do a double decode. We would have to decode the outer message grab those bytes for message, and then JSON decoder decode that. So you're saying if we had that key as a raw message, then we could skip the processing of that field and just... Gotcha. Okay. Okay. I like that idea. So where did I... Oh, yeah, I think I put that somewhere. I think it's still down here. Or is it still down here? It's not still down here. Okay. Let me grab that message real quick. Where are you? There you are. Okay.
So, how are you holding up?
Ooh.
Because I'm a potato.
Aw, the blob dance. I love the blob dance. And sorcery, thank you so much. 5 months streak. Dawn of the 5th month. And for some reason, sorcery still stops by this monstrosity of a stream. Thank you so much, sorcery. I appreciate that. Welcome to the lab, where I am supposed to be at work right now. But I'm sitting here watching and waiting. Watching. Waiting. Hoping. So at least the sub thingy still works. Sub thingy still works. Greeter still works. The blob dance is incredible. Need more blob dance in my life. Oh, it's getting truncated. That's what's happening. Hey, ping pong's working. We did a thing. Holy shit, we did a thing. That's so good. Okay, so we have a problem.
So, how are you holding up? Because I'm a potato.
Thank you so much for the 2-month subscription, really, Frank. Y'all are the best. Oh shit, and if only our damn last sub thing worked. Ugh. There's a you can't see it, but there's a little label that's at the top right that was supposed to show last sub and who the last sub was, but that's not working at the moment. But oh my god, we did it. We're back. Okay. So we do have one problem that I do need to address like immediately. Which I think this needs to be double byte size. Cause what was happening apparently was that the JSON was actually getting that basically we were truncating the message because of max message size. If you need help with the labels and elements, hit me up. I run mine through there now. Will do. There's a small part of me that's still hoping that feature will work, and then I'll have my own. But if that doesn't work, I will definitely hit you up. Okay, I'm just gonna do redeem the elusive Alt F4. Okay. So now we come over to here. Yep. It thinks message is a time. Oh, that's interesting. That's very interesting. I mean, to be fair, I kind of don't blame him. Awesome. Okay, so what we're gonna do, I'm gonna grab this, and down here in the read, oops, Nope. There we go. So this is, I'm gonna call this the envelope because that's basically what they're doing at this point. Delete, change this JSON.raw message. So that gives us the bytes. And then in theory, we wouldn't have to do this. So then, parsed envelope. I really should be at work right now, but nobody's necessarily pinging me. So JSON.new decoder. Dot decode buff. So envelope. This is more important than work. Oh, I can't do that. Have I lost my marbles? Decode goes into the envelope. Right? Oh, var envelope is a struct. The decoder is the reader, and the reader in this case would be oh wait, why am I doing a decoder? Thank you, really, Frank. It's not unmarshal. Yeah, there we go. So data is buff, and this goes to envelope. So that's our parsed envelope. So parse envelope. And this does return an error, I believe. Yep. So this is that. So error equals, if error does not equal to nil, then we do a return errors dot wrap pub sub message parse. Sure. So then this becomes envelope dot, so what is this? Message so now the question becomes, how would I unmarshal? Do I just do an unmarshal directly? So the actual message would be var message channel points is a of type channel point redemption, and then would I just do I do a JSON.unmarshal on envelope data message into channel points? Can you do that? That would be really handy if you could do that. Toby, out. Oh my goodness. The cat is actually licking through the food bowls. So every time I hear him licking the food bowl, I have to turn around and stop him. Okay. So Oh, right, this is backwards. Error. Go. So now the question... Type message. Ooh, okay. So what we could do, that's actually an interesting that's an interesting point, really, Frank. So if this is on the channel points topic, then we know to do the unmarshal. Beautiful. So if envelope.data.topic, and actually I'll do a strings dot what you call it. So in this case, channel point topic is the, oh Jesus, down here. There we go. Yeah. So down here, I'm so out of time, it's not even funny. Channel point topic, why it's doing that, I have no idea. I'm going to do the strings dot has prefix for the time being. And I'll probably do a is topic at some point. But for now, we'll just do a simple channel point topic. And then we'll do a handle channel point redemption for channel points. So grab that. This would actually be like right here. Client is PubSub. We got so much further than I thought we would, which is fantastic. Message is a channel point redemption. So this will do something. Not entirely sure what. For now, we'll just do a log.info fmt.sprintf. Yes, I need to actually do better here. I need to make the logger package a little more robust than what we're currently doing. But I think that gives me the parsing. Let's find out. Okay, ping pong is still going, so it looks like that piece is, oh, PubSub read.
So, how are you holding up?
Oh, Jesus.
Because I'm a potato.
Hey, thank you so much for the 2 months, Leo. Thank you so much. I appreciate it. I'm so glad you did that right as I restarted the bot. Probably need to check envelope.type later. Probably, yeah. So error PubSub message parse invalid character after top level value. Interesting. Does hydrate still work? No. Okay. Interesting. Ooh, interesting. Okay. So that's currently not working, but that's okay. Unfortunately, that is all the time that I have for today. Let me just make a note for myself. Yeah. I think this needs to be Yeah, sorry. I started to think about it, but I can't think about it. I have to call it here. Before parsing. We will leave it there. So this will be Redux of, oh geez, pub sub client with new structure. Focus on channel points, needs, ping pong, message check in read. I'm mostly doing that as a note for myself. I'm not going to push this this code up because I'm probably going to amend it later. But for now, at least, holy shit. That was way more productive of a session than I thought this was going to be. I thought this was just going to be a basically just a POC into event sub again. But yeah, that works really nicely. I am pleased. Holy shit. Now let's see how long it lasts. That's going to be the other thing. We still need to cite. Okay, so checklist for myself. Those messages need to be parsed. We need to figure out, to really Frank's point, we need to ensure that that we can parse those messages accordingly. Once we get them parsed, then we can throw those messages off to the bot, and then the bot can start doing its processing. And then we'll have the channel point processor again. And then all will be right in the world. Allegedly. Next stream when? So the scheduled stream is definitely going to be Saturday. I don't really have a schedule for these mornings. Usually, I don't have. Oh, right. Twitch token not an ENV. Doesn't work when the bot's not running. I can't remember, but if you're not in the Discord, there will be random mornings where I'll just kind of wake up and have an inspiration to jump on and work on this stuff before work. So I'll normally post the notifications there. There's really no like pattern to it, unfortunately, which I know is not great for viewers. But Saturday is the scheduled day that I actually do regularly stream. So I am working on getting that maybe like a Wednesday consistent Wednesday stream or something like that. But I'm not entirely sure what day would make the most sense. So we'll see. But that will do it for today. Thank you all so much for stopping by. Thank you for joining. Thank you everybody for the resubs. That is incredible. You all are incredibly kind. Thank you for supporting this this tiny little lab, which I'm so thankful to have. And until next time, stay curious, and we'll see you then. Take care, everybody.